Okay, give me a second, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll get our way here. I'm just trying to make sure that our Facebook side of things and YouTube side of things are up at the same time or concurrently, I think would be a better word. Okay. All right, looks like both sides are up and stable. Okay, hey, I'm Kino. Welcome. I'm Kino from STEMWithKino.com, and I'd like to welcome you to Afoqt Weekly. If you don't know what Afoqt is, it is the Air Force Officer Qualification Test. And if you are preparing for that test, this is the channel where you need to be. So I'd like to welcome everybody that is checking in with me. If you are on the YouTube side of things, please press 1 if you can hear my audio and video. Everything's working correctly. I don't look like Bruce Lee and what was it, the Five Fingers of Death when, had the cascading hands and stuff like that. So let's make sure that the video is up. Press 1 if the video and audio and decent in YouTube land. And for my Facebook people, as we are broadcasting over 2 channels, hit 1 in the box. And we'll get underway here. All right, let me just set up my your channel. This is my channel. Okay. Bang. Bang. Okay. So yeah, I'm just checking out YouTube and making sure. Sharav Lay. I don't think I've ever seen your name before. Welcome to the channel. And thank you. Are you preparing for the AFOQT? And please tell me whether I pronounced your name correctly or not. But it looks like Sharav. Okay. All right. My name is Kino, so my name is not like a name you hear every day. So I always like to make sure that I take Lay. Okay, Lay. Okay. So I always try to make an extra effort to make sure that I'm pronouncing people's names right. Okay. If you are having issues with any of, some of the problems that we execute here during AFOQT Weekly or any other live stream that I do, you can you can put in your subject. It could be fractions. It could be division with decimals. It could be distance, rate, and time problems. Q&A-DOC. And it can produce bunch of questions pertaining to your subject with tons of questions and answers, and it should come up in a Word document. Okay, so if you have been following me for a while, if you haven't been following me, whether you have or have not, what you should know is that we start with something historical, then we'll start with something aeronautical, and then we'll go into Q&A mode. Okay. So, question and answer mode. Okay, so little background on me. I hold an airline transport pilot certificate. I'm a multi-engine instrument instructor, and I am an ground, basic, advanced, and instrument instructor. So, everybody, is he qualified to teach this? Yes, I am. And I'm a nerd. Yeah, I'm a nerd. So I love math. I love mechanical things. I love electrical related things. So a lot of the STEM, hence STEMwithKino.com, science, technology, engineering, and math, it's kind of my thing. It's what I like to do. I like to talk about it and I like to discuss it. Okay, so let's go into our historical thing for the United States Air Force. Also, if you are a pilot applicant in any branch, I don't care if it's Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, or Coast Guard, you really need to be checking out my live streams because there's going to be a lot of pertinent information that you will need to know during the aviation portion of things, that you will need to know before initial flight screening and aviation pre-flight indoctrination. So, hold on, I'm just checking. Okay. As you know, people are sending me questions and stuff like that. Even some soldiers are deployed. They may be enlisted and they want to become an officer. And so a lot of people fill out, they email me questions. And I make sure that I take care to deploy people first. And then after that, if there's any questions and stuff like that, I make my deployed people and the people that are deployed and people that are my clients, my current clients, their questions take precedence over. There's somebody coming by. I'm sorry, but that's just the way it is. They work with me throughout the week, and so it's an opportunity for them to kind of positively reinforce their training if they're tutoring with me in preparation for an exam. Okay, so we want to touch on something historical. Let me take that out. Let's go here. And I could have sworn, not you. I hope everybody is safe. We got a lot going on in this country right now. And, I hope everybody's just being safe and just avoiding, the riffraff that's going on in our country. I just, hopefully a lot of it, from what I understand, has subsided. I speak with a lot of people all over the country on a weekly basis, and I always ask, hey, how's your area and stuff like that. So according to what I've kind of, or the people that I've talked to, there's really not a whole heck of a lot kicking up, which is a good thing. And hopefully we can bring this stuff to a close and do what we need to do. And I had something prepared, and I don't see it now. That's always nice, right, guys? All right. So, okay, I found it. Very good. Okay. So, I want to talk about some historical things in the United States Air Force. And so, I'm going to read through some things and everything like that, and I'm going to read an excerpt. If you're following me on Facebook, which I highly recommend, you will find, if you're following me, you will find a lot of information, especially if you're going to be a pilot applicant in any branch. A lot of aviation questions will be answered. Now, I prepare people for every military aptitude test there is in the United States military. I'm also a math and STEM tutor, so all the sciences and things of that nature I cover as well. Remember, I'm a super nerd, right? Excuse me. I'll find it. How did I find it and just lose it all over again? Sure, you, Kino. Okay, so I like to start talking about, we've been talking about the United States Air Force, how Army Air Corps, and then it became its own branch around 1947. And we're going to talk about its entry into the Korean War, the United States Air Force's entry, and basically its role. You had K bases or bases, United States Air Force bases in Korea, they called them K bases. And if you follow the article that I posted on Facebook, you can go into like the introduction. Okay, so there's a little excerpt in here, and the General Hoyt Vandenberg, and actually I guess the Air Force base Vandenberg is named after him because he was the United States Air Force Chief of Staff. In 1950, he said to himself, or he made a quote, "The Air Force is on trial in Korea," meaning that they had to prove to themselves. They separated from the Army Air Corps, and now they're their own, before that it was the Navy, Marine Corps, and the Army Air Corps. So the United States Army had an air branch as well as, ground troops. So the Air Force was only 3 years old as a separate service when North Korea invaded South Korea in the summer of 1950. The next 3 years brought significant changes in technology, roles, and tactics, marking the beginning of the modern Air Force. Okay, so, they were on trial because they had to prove themselves. And if you look at the excerpt, there's the locations of these United States Air Force bases or K bases. All right. This article goes on to talk about the extreme climates. It was either crazy humid summer, or it was like a bitter cold winter. And I'm actually going to put up one of the K bases. This K base will be Kilo 9 or K9, and this is Busan East. All right, and let me come on back to There we go. And I'm posting. So you guys can see that. And let me post that. Very good, very good, very good. All right. All right, so this photo of K9 shows a typical. Okay, I'm refreshing the page, so that's why I'm pausing. So if you look at the caption in this photo, all right, this photo of K9, Busan East, in June 1953 shows a typical Korean air base at the end of the war. There are temporary corrugated metal buildings in the middle, while on the right are tent barracks. The B-26 aircraft on the left are parked open and exposed to the elements. So that is another aircraft that we are going to look into, the B-26, which B, that prefix means bomber. Okay, and you want to know the prefixes, the military aircraft prefixes. T-38, it's a trainer. T-37, that's a trainer. T-6, that's a trainer. B, bomber, B-1. The B-1 is a B-2, B-52, old one, B-58 Hustler. So you want to be, and we'll cover those. We have covered those in previous videos. All right, back to the history. All right, John, good to see you. We got Lay and we got John checking in. And on the Facebook side of things, if you guys can hear me, please bump the. Hold on. All right, yeah, please hit the 1 if you guys can hear me clearly on the Facebook side of things. Okay, so John's in the house. Okay, so dust, snow, and mud. An airman's life in Korea. Life at K bases remained fairly basic throughout the Korean War. United States Air Force personnel generally lived in tents and lived in tents with wooden or concrete floors and stored their meager possessions and furniture cobbled together from scrap wood or crates. These tents were blistering hot in the summer and freezing cold in the winter. The vast unpaved areas on air bases were dusty when dry, and they turned to mud with spring rains, while air crews did their best to fight boredom between tension-filled missions. All right, maintenance personnel worked long hours in poor weather conditions to keep worn and damaged aircraft in service. Another significant thing is the Air Force changed their uniforms from green to blue. After the U.S. Air Force became a separate service in 1947, it created the new blue uniforms. Even so, Air Force personnel during the Korean War continued to wear the U.S. Army uniforms from existing stocks. You know, the military is not going to waste anything. Including the famed pink and greens, clothing and crush caps, hats from World War II. In some cases, airmen wore a combination of Army green and Air Force blue uniforms. For enlisted, yellow Army rank chevrons were replaced with silver Air Force stripes. Another notable change was the renaming of some of the enlisted ranks in 1952. So, you know, in the Army, you might have had a private, corporal, you know, something like that. In the Air Force, they're not private. You don't have privates and corporals. You have airmen. And I may as well just, while I'm here, and we're talking about rank and insignia, which is something you guys should be familiar with. Let me talk to my computer. I'm not crazy. United States Air Force rank and insignia. Yeah, she caught it. Good.
Here is information from federalpay.org.
Okay. All right. So, I'm going to block this all together because they're both from Pinterest. Okay. You have your enlisted rank, so you'd be E1, E2, E3. You have warrant officers that are not really used, as far as I know, in the United States Air Force. The Army is still using the warrant officer ranks. And let me see here. So, yeah, at one point, I'm not sure. Well, I don't want to give you guys bad information. I believe at one point the Air Force may have had warrant officers, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. this image comes from, where does it come from? I guess, would that be like militarybenefits.com? All right, I'll tell you. Yeah. So militarybenefits.info. This is where this picture comes from. And so you can see the enlisted and the, all you guys that are taking the Afoqt will be commissioned officers. You would not be enlisted. All right, and why can I find? All right, home. All right, so I'll put the ranks up here, and you guys can take time to look at that and everything. And all right, so we're almost done with the historical part, and we're going to go into the aviation part. Paste. All right, and post. Okay, so about the aviation thing, I'm going to start doing things every time I broadcast for the Afoqt, the ASTBE, and the SIFT. Everybody's going to go through some type of initial flight screening process. And so what I've decided to do was to cater to my people that probably already taken the test and are going to some type of initial flight screening program. And then, kind of prepare them, giving them information that they're going to need to know. So even if you pass the test and you want to be an aviator, you still need to be on this channel, just staying in touch. All right, and these are not United States Air Force ranks. Okay. Okay, this would be, I guess, the Army Corps, so you can see the private and all this and everything. I will get the United States Air Force rank and insignia up. And we'll close with that with the historical section. Okay, I found one, but it really doesn't label. There we go. All right, I found it. This comes from LibGuides, and it's from Texas State University. Thank you, Texas State University, for this image. So you can give my followers. All right, so this is the... Okay, so you have the Army, and you know what? My Army, Marine Corps, and Coast Guard people are going to need this anyway. I'm going to do one for the Coast Guard, probably maybe tomorrow, since you guys are prepared with the Aviation Selection Test Battery and OAR. And that is going to conclude my little talk. I still don't have this little thing. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to change it every time I say, yeah, I'm going to change it. I'm going to change it. And I have not. All right, one moment, folks. Boom. 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 Okay, so that's going to be my little talk on some Air Force history. So, it'll be a little bit of history, a little bit of airplane, aeronautical stuff, and then we'll go into answering questions. So, yeah, like I said, I am changing kind of like the format. All right. So, if you're following me on Facebook, you can actually see the images that I talk about. And for my YouTubers, I will try my best to cater to you guys as best I can. I think eventually I'm probably going to have to be going to a OBS setup. It's a lot, and come on, buddy. All right, how about this? Yeah, can't run from me. All right. So, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be showing you guys some images as we go along that you guys should be familiar with, because primarily I do cater to the aviators. And first, we're going to talk about some aerodynamic terms. The first one is airfoil, and airfoil is any device that's used to produce lift. And I have tons of content, guys. So, all right, coming at you. Okay, so an airfoil is any device that's used to produce lift. It could be a wing, it could be a rotor, it could be wings and rotors. Let's just keep it there. Any device that's used to produce lift. So we see the basic airfoil, and most airfoils have slightly more curvature on the top than they do the bottoms. The bottoms are more or less flat. All right, and you can see some flaps there also. So an airfoil is any device that's used to produce lift. I'd like to also talk about the chord line. The chord line is the imaginary line, and I know I've talked about this before, but I'm working in this framework that I'm working in, and so we're going to eventually work up. And if you're tuning in too, they're going to run throughout all the live streams. So it's going to be good though, guys. And if you pilot applicants are going to. So we have our airfoil. And we have a chord line. The chord line is the imaginary line from and it's not like chord like your electrical cord, is CHORD. All right, so chord line. All right, so the chord line is an imaginary straight line from the leading edge to the trailing edge of the airfoil. Changing the shape of an airfoil by lowering your flaps, or if we lower flaps in this situation, it changes the chord. So if you have flaps here, and you guys that travel or have traveled, you've seen the flaps extend, and when the flaps extend, the chord line changes because now that becomes the trailing edge, aerodynamically speaking. All right. Let's see what else we want to talk about. Angle of attack, we've talked about that before. Angle of incidence. Angle of incidence. Now, we have the three axes of rotation. Axes of rotation. And if we look at the body of our aircraft, all right, let's make like a little regional jet kind of shape. And let's say that our airfoil is kind of like this. All right. You have an angle that's produced. All right. You have the longitudinal axis, and then you have the chord line that goes from leading edge to trailing edge. Boom. And so this is a low-wing aircraft, so this is what we call the angle of incidence. The angle of incidence is the angle at which the wing is attached to the aircraft fuselage. The airplane has no control over the angle of incidence. Okay. However, the manufacturer attaches this wing to the fuselage will produce the angle of incidence. So the airplane has no control over it. The pilot has no control over it. The angle of incidence changes for a powered parachute base. Okay, so we're not dealing with powered parachutes because that's like a wing twist. Wing twist, we'll cover that. We're going to cover that. If you're following me and you are, looking at all the live streams, because this is going to go along all live streams. I'm going to be continuing this series as we go through tomorrow's Afoqt OAR and Saturday the United States Army SIF. So this is for all pilots, all pilot wannabes, all pilot applicants, fixed and rotary wing. We're going to be covering everything. So that's what I'm saying. You guys need to be following me here. And you know what? I'd like to give a shout out to Air Warriors. I think it's the people at Air Warriors. I'll say the people at Air Warriors because Air Warriors doesn't endorse me, but a lot of people at Air Warriors are saying a lot of good things about me. And I've talked to 7 people this week. First thing I ask you when you meet me, how'd you find me? They'll be like, oh yeah, I found you on YouTube, or yeah, I found you on Facebook, or I found you on Google. And then, but now I'm getting a lot of people are like, yo, I saw you on Air Warriors, man. This guy tested with you. He said you did a really good job. He got a great score. And that's good. So shout out to Air Warriors. I'll give Air Warriors credit because you guys have the platform to bring people together to talk about Kino. Hey, as long as you're talking about Kino, I'm all for it. Good things, though. Good things. So, okay. All right. So angle of incidence was a new term that we talked about. And I'm going to drop a couple questions. How they could be presented on the test or the exams to you. And when you go to aviation pre-flight indoctrination or your initial flight screening, this is stuff that you need to know. I'm going to shout you out on the Reddit. I appreciate that for Army Aviation that I joined. I appreciate that, man. That's right. Share on your, please share on your social media networks. I have to, my voice. I'm paid to run my mouth. Okay. Thanks for watching, and please share on your social media networks. Yeah, I like that. I like how that sounds. Okay, so back to Facebook. I'm going to, so you'll also see, if you're following me on Facebook, how the potential questions can look. All right, and I will drop this one. And the question is as follows. The angle between the chord line of an airfoil and the relative wind is known as A, lift, B, attack, or C, incidence. And it's angle of A, lift, B, attack, or C, angle of incidence. It is the angle of attack. So guys, if you follow me and you are aviation applicants, y'all better follow me, man, because I have some stuff that is going to blow your socks off. It's my job. And to help you guys get awesome test scores. Okay, I'm just reading a question, and I gotta hold it together because I'm like I get a little distracted, and I gotta kind of read and stay on point. And what I need to do is this, and we can talk about this. Shout out to Marilyn. Marilyn has just sent me a message, and Marilyn, I'm not sure if you're watching or not, but I am definitely responding to the message that you sent to me. And I'm shooting it to you right now, so, make sure that you get in touch with me. Right, just be a moment, guys, and I'll be back on track. Okay, bang. Okay, so... And Edward, thank you for the referral. And Edward, in the future, all you have to do is just give them my number. You have my number. Give them my number, and they can text me directly, and they can link up with me on Skype, and then we can have a conversation. So thank you, Edward, for that referral. Yeah. So Reddit, whatever platforms you guys are on, tell people. Spread the word. Kino is good. Sound like a caveman. Kino is good. Okay, so, all right, let me come in with another question that you could potentially, possibly get on the test. Okay. We talked about the axes of rotation. I beat that to death. Lift, thrust, weight, drag, and how there are subcomponents of drag. So we talked about that. All right. Okay, I have another one. You should know about Bernoulli's principle. Bernoulli's principle states that as the velocity of a fluid increases, its internal pressure decreases. As a flight instructor, if I'm teaching a cadet, an applicant, prepare for a private pilot certificate, how to fly, that sounds really, really good to me. Like, hey, what's Bernoulli's principle? And okay, sir, well, as the velocity of a fluid increases, its internal pressure decreases. It's very simple, it's clear, it's concise, and it's kind of like one of the snappy phrases flight instructors like to hear. Like, oh man, this kid's good. You want to impress the hell out of your flight instructor. Well, okay, let me. You don't want a brown nose. You just want to show that you're competent. So I had to pull back on that one. You want to show your instructor that you're competent, okay? Because in flight training, your instructor's level of activity is going to be here, and your level of activity is going to start out here at the bottom, here at the low point. And slowly, as you train with your flight instructor, your activity is going to increase, and your flight instructor's activity is going to decrease until there's literally nothing for the flight instructor to critique you on. I always knew when it was time to solo somebody, I would get so bored. I'd just be like, dude, why am I here? I never say that to the student, but that's what I'm thinking. Because there's nothing for me to, hey, pull your nose up, watch your power, drop your flaps, do your gumps check, call a tower. None of that. When the student is actually doing everything, it's a beautiful thing. And then when they know their procedures, normal and emergency procedures, like the back of their hand, that's when I know it's time to solo. So when I'm just sitting there and I'm a passenger instead of a flight instructor, then that's when it's time to solo a cadet, a pilot applicant, whatever, what have you. So that is your main goal. All right. So Bernoulli's principle, we talked about that. I'm dropping this on the Facebook page. Inbox. Give me a moment here. I'm just. Why is it so big? Okay. I am trying to have as little dead air as possible. I can run my mouth, guys. So. Okay. All right. I'm gonna let that go. Okay, so let's see. All right. So my Facebook people, hit 1 if you can hear me, and I am dropping the next image. All right. So this is how potential question could potentially look on the test and the aviation information side of things. All right. And what your response should be. Okay. Bang. Bang. Bill Facina is in the room. Hey, Bill. I'm not sure if he's in the room or just checking out something that I posted, but Bill, if you can hear me, welcome. And okay. So, which statement relates to Bernoulli's principle? Okay. For every action, there's an equal opposite reaction. Throw that away. That's Sir Isaac Newton's third law of motion. B, an additional upward force is generated as the lower surface of the wing deflects air downward. An additional upward force is generated as the lower surface of the wing deflects air downward. No. Has to do with the curvature of the wing and how the air molecules move faster over the top because there's a curvature. There's a natural curvature and a natural flatness. So the air molecules need to move faster over the top of the wing. All right. So see, air traveling faster over the curved upper surface. That's just what I said. Of an airfoil causes lower pressure on the top surface. Okay. So that is the statement that relates to Bernoulli's principle. As the velocity of a fluid increases, its internal pressure decreases. So as a result, what happens is its pressure decreases, negative pressure on the top, positive pressure on the bottom, and that's what creates lift. All right. All right. Okay. Bill said B. Oh, Bill's answering the questions. Bill, we're going to get you back in the air, baby. Yeah, man. Good. Bill was an old student of mine. I helped him get his instrument rating. And, yeah, Bill's a good man. Okay. All right. I'm going to my email for questions. And guys, in the future, if you are trying to send me a question, Um, yeah, Kevin, I hope you're properly prepared, dude. Seriously. I'm working with a guy that just took the ASTB twice, and now he's working with me, and I got to get him squared away. Because you're going to get tier 2 questions this time. I just really, really hope you're ready. And reach out to me. I've seen your name before, so whether you're YouTube or follow me on Facebook. And John's probably driving. I was going to say ask somebody to post my email up because I'm fishing for questions right now. But Kevin, definitely reach out to me on Skype. KIENO.THOMAS. First and last name with a dot. Reach out to me on Skype so we can have a video chat. If nothing else, man, let me just take a 10-15 minute look at you and just to see how you're doing, because you take this, you only got one more shot left. That is a terrible position to be in if you're not prepared. All right. Maybe I'm always coming up with these ideas right in the middle of live stream. Like maybe, I think one day I'm gonna do a Google Hangout. It's gonna be on a Sunday afternoon probably, so most people are off. It'll be on a Sunday afternoon, and you guys stay tuned because I'm gonna just kind of throw some questions out. It'll just be like a half hour. It won't even be long. It'll just be a half hour. I might do this maybe once a month or something like that. You know, just to throw some questions out and be like, boom, and we'll be video chatting. So you'll be able to talk to me as well. And just to be like, yo, look, just show you whether you're ready. Just reading the books alone is not going to do it. I'm sorry. In the span of 10 years, you know how many people I met that, man, I bought 5 books. I studied everything for like 3 months. And then they cranked out like a 40. That's like crazy. And what does that tell you? These people could publish books that maybe 10-20% of the stuff is on the test. Which is why I endorsed, and they did not pay me. But look, this is the last year I'm endorsed, y'all Barons. Y'all better send me a check. Because I get guys through the test. So, the Barons book. All right. I endorse this book. If I do not hold this book and say, I endorse, like, hey, I'm Keno Thomas, and I endorse this message. If I don't hold the book up and boom. And I'm not saying the book is not good. Because I said I'm going to stop speaking negatively about, I'm gonna stop speaking negatively about these publishers. They have to learn, they have to grow. I didn't just become a ASTB, Afoqt expert overnight. It took time. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna stop kicking their back in. You guys know whose back I used to kick in. Woo, boy! I used to get them hell, man. Like, yo, like, what are you doing? This is not going to be in a test nothing remotely, you know? So they had a lot of that, and they are getting better. So that's why I said, you know what, Keno? Stop that. Don't be so mean. Because, I mean, this is your life. If you do really well on this test and you pass the medical, your whole life is going to change. I mean, provided your background and everything is good and stuff like that, your whole life is going to change. And you have no idea the opportunities and the places and experiences that lie ahead. You have no idea. I've been places, man. I'm sitting there like, whoa, the first time. But then when you get your experience and you've been around a little bit, then you got the younger pilots with you, and they're sitting there like, oh my God, you're just like, oh. Like I've been here like 10, 15, 20 times at least. It's nothing like going to the bathroom. Hey, I gotta pee. I gotta go to Spain. What I mean is that it's just like normal. You travel and you go to different places. Okay, so yeah, I said I was gonna stop doing that. So, yeah. All right, let me just read some of this. Could you go over wing twist? So, Drew, on the one-on-one, we will go over wing twist. I'm really not at that area. And if you're following me on the live streams, guys, everybody, every branch needs to, if you're going to go in aviation, you need to be following this channel because the information is going to be priceless. And if you just come out to And if you come into the live stream, you ain't doing nothing else. Might as well learn. You know what I'm saying? Okay, good wings. You want to shout you out? Okay, thank you, John. Lay, thank you for coming. You're a new face. Now, you may have been on, and then maybe I just didn't see you, but I'd like to thank you. Everybody that's in here, please hit the like button. And if you're on the Facebook, please, please share, like, all that good stuff. Pretty confident it will first time I had a comprehension issue on spatial spatial apperception. Awesome. Thank you, John. Yeah, hit me on Skype at keynote.thomas. Because I'm doing this the second time. You didn't do well the first time. And I don't know if you worked with a tutor or not, but most people need a tutor. Most of them, you need it. Like, the recruiter be like, just take it, see how you do. Like, that's the worst mistake you can make. And most people do that the first time. I don't hear that just from, once a month. I hear this all the time. The recruiter just said, take it, see how you do. Then I saw your video, and I saw why I shouldn't have done that. And, boom, you got your first shot. You got 2 bullets left in the gun. ASTB, OAR, and if you're SIFT or AFOQT, you only have 2 to begin with. So you just take it the first time, and then you only have 1 more shot left. It sucks. Know before you go. Be prepared. Yeah, I literally think y'all just coming to watch me talk and run my mouth. If I had a licensed airline transport pilot with a multi-engine instructor rating and advanced, basic, and you guys want to be pilots, I would be asking a whole lot of questions concerning aviation. But hey, there's no pressure. I'm just glad y'all here. I'll be like, Mr. Thomas, yeah. I'll be like, yeah, okay, I'm that. But, time. It's the only thing you can't get back. You don't want to waste it. But I'm glad you guys are here. All right. So some things I've been seeing with some of my applicants with the math problems. You need to make a target of solving all your math problems in 60 seconds, even if it's a word problem. Now I know, no, I can't do. Yes, you can. You can do it. It is possible. It's possible. I don't care what anybody says. I've taken too many people that couldn't do it, that can do it. All right. Now, will every math problem be burned down in 60 seconds? No, it won't. But if that is your goal, that is what you're driving for, then you will come out better than taking 5 minutes for the question and stuff. And so that's what I teach, a lot of rapid math techniques. Shout out to Mr. Price. I showed him some things today, and he was, I didn't know you could do that. And, yeah, that's what I teach, And like I say, every week after week after week. Let me see. Let's see. Kendall, nice to meet you. I haven't seen your name before. Welcome to the channel. Planning to get my AMP. And going to Army. Yeah. You know what's crazy? I see people getting out the Navy and the Air Force going to the Army. The Army treats their pilots good. Really good. I mean, they're like the workhorses. They are the workhorses, so they don't mess with them too much. And if you're enlisted and you go to warrant officer, you're hitting the warrant officer pay grade, so you're getting some more, you're getting extra pay. And I mean, those are like oh my God, the Army warrant officers, man, and a pilot. Come on now, awesome. They treat their aviators very, very well. And the Army did not send me a check. Next year, 2021, everything's changing. I want checks from all you people. No, shout out to the Army. Actually, you know what? My first year of high school, I was a junior ROTC cadet, 9th grade, and I was on a rifle team. Okay, yeah, Brian just confirmed what I said. Okay. Learned some cool tricks today. Thanks, Kino. You're welcome, bud. But what I'm saying is like, okay, Army ROTC. Um, well, they don't do it anymore because everybody's scary and all this and everything and insurance and stuff like that. But we actually had a rifle team, and we used to qualify. We used to go into competition. Our junior ROTC cadet squadron. So you had the opportunity to be on a rifle team, learn basic marksmanship and everything like that, and then on your uniform, you'd have like your sharpshooter badge or sharpshooter marksman or expert. I was not an expert shooter. I kind of my little devil on my shoulder, like, yeah, Keno, tell him he was an expert shooter. No, I was not. I learned afterwards how to shoot more expertly, but um, they had some really cool programs. Shout out to anybody that is in junior ROTC right now. Can you confirm whether they still have rifle teams? Now, this unit was in the South, so maybe they may, feel a little bit different. I mean, to me, in the South, that's where, they take pride in. I want to say this correctly because I don't want the trolls to come. It seems to me, allegedly, I'll say allegedly, okay, that they like shooting and marksmanship and guns and stuff like that. Not that they have any ill will towards anybody, but when you could shoot really, really well, that's kind of like, yeah, like I said, I wasn't an expert, I was a marksman. I could shoot pretty good, and I shoot even better now. But anybody in junior ROTC, in the junior ROTC program, please tell me whether they still have the rifle team, because I temporarily went to a high school where I was in this Air Force junior ROTC unit, and it was in Columbus, Georgia, Baker High. I think it was Baker High. I can't remember. But it was in Columbus, Georgia. Anybody from Columbus, Georgia, please, you can confirm this. I think it was Baker High School. But at any rate, they had a junior ROTC, Army junior ROTC unit, and it was right kind of like down the street a little bit from Fort Benning, Georgia. And so it was pretty cool because we'd go meet the Rangers and stuff like that, see the jump towers. We used to actually go on base and see like the jump training and all that and everything. And you see and yeah, it was pretty cool, for a kid. I'm totally 100% on board with junior ROTC for young kids. I think there should be one in every high school. But I think there's probably some Air Force or military funding that has to go behind it, maybe, because you learn drill and ceremonies early and stuff like that and everything. So yeah, I will be sharing more and more about my experiences and stuff like that, because then I moved, and then I got into an Air Force junior ROTC program, and then I was also a Civil Air Patrol cadet. So Brian, you actually asked me earlier, like, oh, what made you go into aviation? I always liked airplanes, but then when I kind of got around the Air Force junior ROTC environment, and then you have like a lieutenant colonel who's the aviation science instructor, and then you meet other aerospace science instructors. And this guy was an F4 pilot, and this guy flew F-16s, and then this guy, they kind of nurture, and they kept me out of trouble. Like when we're all grown, and this is labeled not for kids on this video. It kept me out a lot of bullshit. Like with Civil Air Patrol, as a cadet, you actually get in a plane and you go flying. And a lot of instructors are in the Civil Air Patrol. And so you can actually log time towards your private pilot certificate. So it was just like when other guys wanted to get into some bullshit, excuse my language, but yeah, when they get some bullshit, I'm like, man, I ain't messing with y'all. I had a flight suit, everything, man. I was like, man, you couldn't tell me nothing. I was cadet hot shit, so shout out to the Civil Air Patrol. Shout out to Junior ROTC. Shout out to Army ROTC. I think it just kind of points kids in the right direction as far as like finding their direction. A lot of people like get out of high school, I got to find my way. I don't know what I want to do. But, when you're around gentlemen, pilots, or whatever you want to do, that they nurture that. Oh, you want to be a pilot? Oh, yeah, come here. Yeah, I used to fly in Vietnam. Like one of my aerospace guys, he flew F4s. Gosh, Major Pearson. Shout out to you, Major Pearson. Yeah, he would always tell us stories of how he would get in all kinds of stuff, and how he would shoot stuff down. And to kids, that's cool. Like, oh, this is like, I don't remember whether he's a fighter ace or not. But in my eyes, he was a fighter ace. He used to fly F4s. I used to go down to the base and, man, you listen to those F4s like, I mean, rock the whole base when they take off. And, you know, back in the day, the military bases were a little bit more, you know, with this security and after this stuff, there was a lot of cool things a kid could do that you can't do anymore. And it sucks that it's this way. Because I remember I used to go to the base and you could literally just cross the street and throw a rock at it. Not that we would do that, but what I'm saying is that's the kind of eye view you had. Like you, boom, F-15 right there, or T-38 or T-37. And my mother would be, you know, she'd drive me, oh, Mom, that's a T-38. Oh, that's an F-5. Or that's an F-4. It's like, that was like, dude, that was just like cool to just look at the American air power right there in your face. And so, you know, hell, I've talked us to death, haven't I? And it's 6 o'clock. I didn't really see any questions, so that's why I just kind of went in. But we talked about Air Force history in the Korean War. We talked about some aeronautical terms. We talked about aerodynamics as far as airfoils, angle of attack, and things of that nature. Okay, so I'm here every week. If you are following me and you are going to be an aviation applicant, you need to be at every live stream for the aviation portion, because what I have coming down the pipeline is going to be awesome for you. And you are going to be that much more prepared, because if you're not a pilot, you definitely need to be here. You definitely need to be following me on Facebook. I'm sorry. I know a lot of people, I don't have a Facebook account because they don't like the social media thing. But this is the platform where I can drop just things and tidbits and videos and Air Force history and stuff like that. It's STEMwithKino.com. So it's not going to go anywhere. Maybe your girlfriend has, hey, honey, let me see your phone. I got to watch Kino. Like, who's this Kino guy? So, Jonathan, I think I have you next on my schedule. Yes, I do. So it is 6 o'clock and John is waiting. Guys, I really appreciate you coming to the channel. Tell your recruiters. Tell your ROTC guys. If you're junior ROTC right now, you definitely need to be talking to me, because I can tell you some of the pitfalls that you could potentially run into. Because it's kind of not for kids, but it is kind of for kids. All right. Motivated kids. Is that the word I want to say? Goal-oriented children in high school that are junior ROTC cadets. You know, there's experiences I could share with you in that aspect as well. If you leave high school, you know, I was a cadet lieutenant colonel. At the ROTC unit in college, nobody gives a shit. I'm sorry. I'm a cadet lieutenant colonel. Like, okay. Guess what? Your first year cadet in Air Force ROTC. And they ready to PT the hell out of you, trying to walk there and everything. What did impress people was my flight experience that I had at such a young age. So that kind of did impress them. But, you know, they kind of followed me anyway and PT me more. Like, oh, there's Top Gun right there. You get him. You know, stop doing sit-ups. And it's just like, oh, man, lay in the mud. You know, so it can help. It's a gift and a curse, I'll say. All right, so I'm going to close with that. Guys, I really hope you enjoyed the channel. There's going to be I have more guidance, because I do this from the hip. But it's nice when I have a nice format for aviators. History, aviation, and then answering questions. So I can do that from the hip all day. You know what I mean? I can do that for like 2-3 hours. Everybody be like, oh, really? Prove it, Kino. My trolls. So guys, thank you. John's gonna yell at me when man, this is my time. All right, let me go. Guys, thank you for checking out. Let me see. Let me just get new names. Lay, I see you. Thanks for showing up. Kevin Jensen. I think I've seen you before, but I'm not really sure. I don't see you all the time. So thank you for coming to the channel. Kendall, if you need help preparing, I don't know if you have to take the FAA, but I help a lot of FAA, AMP, airframe and power plant guys. So Keno.Thomas on Skype. John, thank you for posting that. And let me just check out the Facebook side of things. All right. Okay, so I'm good. I will see you guys. Also, let's see. Marilyn, Keno.Thomas on Skype. Edward, let her know. And that's it. YouTube, see y'all later. Bang. Facebook, peace. Out.